Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another round of Mind Your Puckin' Business with your host, Jeffrey Huntsman.
Thank you, Dougie Sticks, coming to you live from the beautiful studios of Undefeated Media here in Bergen County, New Jersey. This is the Mind Your Pucking Business podcast brought to you by our good friends at the Bamboozle Project as well as DraftKings. We thank them both for their sponsorship or continued sponsorship as always. And you can go to thebamboozleproject.com, check out the MYPB variety of gear there and use promo code MYPB at checkout. Save yourself 20% off your total order. I did see, we put it on our Instagram story last night. Someone did get the Win It for Sam hoodies that are very popular and posted it. So a lot of our stuff is going out. Make sure you use that promo code. Let us save you some money in the process. And we thank DraftKings as well. This is episode number 178, 178. I'm going to say that one more time because it actually sounded decent for a change. 178. And remember, if you are following today, you can utilize the SAP features for you if you'd like to listen to the show or replay the show with Spanish audio. You can do that, and we welcome you to our MYPB family. You can send us your questions at any time to mypbshow@gmail.com. You can also DM us on the Instagram platform. We are very very aware of the DMs we get, and we try to respond quickly. We respond to them all. So I promise you, if you do send stuff to us, you will hear from us, and you can listen to the show live. You can watch it live, and I see a lot of you on the Instagram chat already, as well as YouTube. So you can watch us live and comment throughout the show. We take your comments. You can do that on both YouTube and Instagram, Facebook as well, and you can stream the show at your convenience whenever you would like, and that is on Spotify and iTunes. So I think we got that out of the way, all of the intro. So look, there is a ton of stuff going on. If you think about the fact that we have not been on since last Wednesday and the amount of things that have gone on with this team, I feel like we could sit here for 4 hours. But I assure you we're not going to do that and take that much out of your busy day. But I do think the most effective way to do this and easiest way is to do what we always do here, which is to do things in chronological order of events. Like we were on last Wednesday. We talked about things up until last Wednesday. And today we are taping this on the morning of Wednesday, December 11th. So if you're not watching us live and you're wondering where we are in time when we're talking about all this stuff, that is where we are. So we are really current through the morning of December 11th. So we left last week, and the Rangers were on what was just scheduled totally random to be a 4-day break. They lost to the Devils on Monday night, where I was in attendance. It was terrible. And Pittsburgh was not on the schedule until Friday night. And you knew like the way that things had been going. And if you know Chris Drury at all and the way that he works, you kind of knew that there were going to be things that were done, maybe major, maybe minor. But he probably was not going to use this 4-day period with his team kind of doing terribly, and that may be putting it lightly, to use that time to do nothing. So it gets to Friday morning, and really, no one really saw this coming. And if you, again, we're following the chain of events here. It gets reported at about 10:30 on Friday morning that Jacob Trouba will not be in the lineup that night, and he will not be in the lineup that night due to, and I quote, roster management issues. Now, here's how you knew something was up. The Rangers could have said, to their credit, because I get on them a lot where like they don't disclose a lot, and they don't have to, right? But they could have said Trouba's out tonight with a lower body injury, an upper body injury. And you would think twice about it, but you would sit there and you say, you know what, maybe he's injured. But when you say that there's a roster management issue, you're not hiding it. Like at that point, you know, if they're coming out with it and saying it when they really don't have to, that he's not playing for that specific reason, you knew there was something going on. At 2:20 that afternoon comes a tweet from Elliot Friedman in Canada, one of the better hockey writers out there, that Trouba had been sent to Anaheim. Now, whenever you have a trade in sports, whether it's a team you like, whether it's a team you don't like, whether it's a sport you follow, whatever, right? It's always about what does team A get and what does team B get. That is always your first thought in 99% of the trades. For me, and it was delayed, what was coming back to the Rangers. Like it was reported, Trouba's going, but we don't know what's coming back from Anaheim. For me, I didn't care.
You didn't care.
All I cared
At that
about,
point.
all I cared about was that the whole contract was being taken on by Anaheim, and thankfully it was.
That alone is a win.
Is a win, right? That
You're
trade,
taking him in the salary. We don't need nothing back.
we don't need that. So the whole point of this trade, and I haven't really found anyone that is not for this trade. It's not about the defenseman that's coming back that I can't pronounce the first or last name, nor do I care to. It's not about the 4th round pick as well. It's the fact, and it's not just that Jacob Trouba is gone. It's the fact that Anaheim and Pat Verbeek, and I said this in an Instagram story that day, Ranger fans should be sending him a holiday card because he took on the entire contract, meaning what that trade has done above everything else, and most importantly, is provided salary cap relief in a massive, massive way. That is the key there. And again, it doesn't make sense to discuss who's coming back in terms of player or draft pick. It doesn't even matter. It's about cap flexibility. And you know that it had gotten to a point where the whole thing was bad when you have to move on for your captain midseason. Now, the Rangers, unfortunately, have a track record of doing this. Go back to Ryan Callahan at the trade deadline on a Wednesday in March of 2014. You can look at Ryan McDonough as well. But the fact that you had to move on from your captain in midseason 6 months after going to the Eastern Conference Finals should tell you that things were not good. And they were not good on the ice. Has Trouba been good on the ice? No, he has not. But he also, the locker room stuff and the stuff over the summer certainly hung over him and his play and the team. Now, it is not where I will stand with Jacob Trouba. And I try to look at things objectively here. Was it fair to him that in the summer, the whole situation got leaked, that the Rangers were trying to move him and he refused to, waive his no trade clause? No, that was not fair to him, because what it did on the public eye was portrayed him as a villain, right? And made him the bad guy in this whole situation. That was not fair. Now, I don't want to get into, and I was doing this on Instagram with people before we went live this morning. You could get into, okay, well, who leaked it, right? Who's the person that sat here and leaked the story with Trouba over the summer? Is it maybe, hint, hint, the same person that leaked the Brady Tkachuk situation last week? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But for Jacob Trouba, that situation itself, you can't blame the guy for being upset that got leaked to the media. Overall, vast majority of Ranger fans happy what they did. Now, there were some people who came out and said, look, and I don't want to mention names. I could mention names here because it's someone that's affiliated with the show to an extent, said, hold on, everyone here is getting on Trouba. Let's talk about the positive things that he did while he was here in his captaincy in New York. And there were positive things. It's not like this guy did all bad things, but it just had gotten to a point here where you had to move on. And with the team playing like it did, and this being the number one issue, both possibly in the locker room as well as the salary cap implications by having this $8.5 million contract, you had to move on. And thankfully, Anaheim decided to take on the contract. So that is Friday at 3 p.m. I want to talk about my day Friday before we get into
probably was feeling good, right? Everyone's
happy, right?
Everyone's happy at that time,
right? At that point, everyone's happy. Now I'm dealing with like a personal issue at that moment in my house because the hot water heater's out. So the day had been chaotic as it was. Trouba thing, everything's crazy. We don't want to use like the appliances in our kitchen to have to do dishes because we don't have hot water. So I say I'm going to go out and get food. I go out and I pull up to the post office and I run in for 2 seconds to drop something in, and I come out to my phone and I see 13 messages. It had to have been less than a minute.
Should have brought Trouba with you. You ship him out
to Anaheim. First class mail. And out of the blue, it is reported from Emily Kaplan as well as Kevin Weeks on X. Not like it's Twitter, but it's X, right? Like if I say it was, you would say it was tweeted. What do you use now as the terminology? It was reported on X. We'll say it like that. That Igor has signed an additional 8-year contract at between 11.5 and 12 million per. Now, this was not, and people thought this right away, right? And it was
thinking
fair,
it right now,
right? That how coincidental?
Yeah.
2 hours
All this
later,
money came out of
but
nowhere.
it wasn't. Apparently, he'd been signed for a while and had agreed with it. So, Igor Shesterkin resigns. Now, if you've listened to MYPB on a regular basis, and I thank you if you have, but if you listen to us on a regular basis, I have been steadfast all along on what I wanted to happen with him and what I predicted was going to happen with him. So as a recap, if you're new here, I'm just going to summarize. You cannot let one of the best players in the NHL at arguably, and maybe it's not even arguably, but I'll give you arguably here. You cannot let the best player or one of the best players in the NHL at the most important position walk away from your team in where he is going into or is into the prime of his career. How then do you sell that to your team and your fans? And I'm going to use me as an example as someone who has a ton of season tickets, that we are doing everything we can to win when we just let Igor Shesterkin walk away. So I've always said as a fan, you should want him back, because why would you want someone else in goal? Now, I understand the Aiden Hill example. I understand all of that. But I will take my chances knowing in any game that I have one of the best players at the most important position on my team. On the other side, this was a total guess, and I don't know if this is right. I saw someone allude to it, but I don't know if this is right. But I've said this for weeks. I think if I was Igor Shesterkin and I had the opportunity to play at an Original Six franchise in the greatest city in the world, in the world's most famous arena, with a team that has a window of opportunity to win open, although maybe it's been closed a little bit the last few weeks, how would you walk away from that? I just felt there were too many positives for the Rangers to bring him back and too many positives for Igor to want to come back. So now the other side of it are the people that say, well, hey, why would you sign a goalie? And the only argument you can have, if you're not happy with the deal, right? It's not that, oh, I'd rather Aiden Hill be my goalie. It's that you didn't want to have the Rangers commit 11.5 or 12 million per year on the cap for this player. But let me ask you this, all right? First off, well, before I ask you the question, let me say this. Every year the cap is going to go up each and every year. So out of those 8-year deal, every year the cap ceiling is higher than it was the previous year. So where the cap is now is not where it is next year, and it's not where it is the year after, and all of that stuff. But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
For those of you that are out there that say to yourself, you cannot commit 11.5 million to a goalie, and I would have rathered him only gotten 8, right? Because if you want to look at the Swayman deal, okay, we should have given Igor 8. What would you, let me take simple math. They gave him 11.5. You wanted to give him 8. You say you committed 3.5 million, or let's even use 4. We'll say they spent $4 million more per year that they could have used in other areas. How in the world with this franchise and the track record of what this franchise is, maybe outside of Artemi Panarin, why would you be confident that they would spend that $3 or $4 million wisely and get it right?
Probably not.
They wouldn't.
Yeah. You've been trying to get a winner for years.
They would not. If I was looking at this, right, and I said, if I was on the other side of the equation and said, that is way too much money to sign Igor to, you can't guarantee me that this organization is going to spend the difference correctly at all. And the other thing is, right, if you did spend it wisely, what player is that important that you're only getting that you're getting someone valuable for a $3.5 million difference in what you didn't give Igor? They're not, right? So they did that. And to take it a step further, if God willing, right, and please, somewhere in my life, get them to play in the Stanley Cup Finals. But if they were to go to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, if there is one position I want in that game, going into as a Ranger fan, that I want the best player at that position at the game, it is not, I don't want the best defender on my team, if I can only have one. I don't want the best right wing. I don't want the best center. I want the best goalie. And now I have the opportunity to know that in the next 8 years, plus this year, so the next 9 years, I guess, next upcoming 9 Stanley Cup Finals, should the Rangers get there, they should have Igor in the net. And that, to me, is important.
Yeah.
So that happens Friday. Okay?
Still feeling good.
So now Friday, let me tell you something. Friday, and I said this, I did a Instagram live at like 6 o'clock on Friday because there's so much going on. Like, we didn't have hot water. There was like 1,000 things going on. And I was from the Trouba stuff and the Igor, I was just like spent. And the game hadn't even happened versus Pittsburgh yet. Okay. So the Pittsburgh game, what you expected And if you go back, let's go back here. Last Wednesday, when I said they have 3 games upcoming, this was before the Trouba thing and the Igor thing, but there are 3 games upcoming. There's Pittsburgh at home, Seattle, and Chicago. And Chicago's terrible, right? So you have to, at a minimum, get 4 of 6 points. You should get 6. 5 would be fine. 4 would be okay, but you can survive. Anything less than that would be, negative. I know where you're going. I know how you think, right? I've been with you.
Say a word
but I know what you think, right? I know. I get it. I know. We'll get there. So the Pittsburgh game, what you would expect, right? The last time the Rangers as a team played on the ice Monday versus the Devils, they were atrocious. So you would expect them to have some jump. They've had 4 days off. Their last game was bad. They traded what supposedly was the problem earlier in the day.
Feeling good
in Trouba. What you would have expected or like to see in that situation is the Rangers have some jump in them right away.
Pep in the step.
Pep in the
slide.
You didn't get that, but you know what? They won. They played better in the second and third period, and it was good for Panarin to get 2 goals. Like, I just felt like for him, it was a good idea for him to get going. He got 2 goals, they win. Pittsburgh is not, and I said this last week, Pittsburgh had won 4 in a row coming in. They had been playing better, and they still are. But those are games you need to win, and you won. So that's fine. So at the end of it, I think at Friday night when you go to bed or early Saturday morning, because I know a lot of our listeners are much younger than me, probably go to bed later than me. When you go to bed, whenever that is, you finish the day. Trouba was traded. Anaheim took the entire salary from you. Igor signed, and you got 2 points. That's a pretty good day.
Great day.
For a franchise that in the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks has been pretty darn terrible around here, that was your good day.
Great day.
And the vibes are high, right?
Vibes
You're feeling good. Now, Seattle comes in on Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you go back to the Major League movie. You get a win, and then, you get 2 in a row. It's a streak or whatever it is. Now you're going to try and build something off the win 48 hours previously on Friday versus Pittsburgh with Seattle game. Rangers come out well. They get an early goal. Seattle ties it. And Filipino and Trocheck score really, kind of real close together. And you have a 3-1 lead. And at that point in time, I had to get up and leave because we had to go somewhere. So at that point in time, when we were driving, and I had the game on, and nothing had happened for a little bit, I was saying to myself, stupidly, okay, maybe it was Trouba. Maybe it was. You know what? They're going to win today. They're up 3-1. They're playing well. And I was watching until I had to leave to go to a soccer game with my son. Like, they were playing well. The team had been looking good. They won Friday. Like, maybe we turn the corner. Now we're going to win today. We're up 3-1. You can beat Chicago tomorrow. You get, 3 in a row. That's really where you come out of the mess, right? No. Just everything kind of goes the wrong way, and they lose 7-5. Now, last year, there was a game in Ottawa right before the All-Star break. The Rangers were in Ottawa, and they had not been playing well. And Connor Mackey got in a fight in the second period. And it kind of, I don't want to say it turned the season around because it didn't. That would be too extreme. But it was a turning point, right? Things kind of went the right way because of that moment where Connor Mackey got in a fight. This Seattle loss, I'm just going to put it out there, has the potential to be the turning point in this season, or a major pivotal turning point in this season, should things go or continue to go south. Because to blow a lead to a team, by the way, Seattle now, that's a getaway game for them. And if you don't know what that sports means, here's what it means, the terminology in sports. They are playing this game. It's their last game of a 4-game road trip. They have a 6.5-hour flight to go back to Seattle. That game as well for them is 10 in the morning. It's a 1 o'clock start in the Garden. They're on Pacific time normally. That's a 10 o'clock game. They have a 6-hour flight waiting to go home to their families after being away for a week. That's a game you should win. And you're up 3-1. Now, I don't want to get on Jonathan Quick because it's hard to pin it on him. I mean, you don't like 6 goals on 22 shots. One, of course, was an empty netter there. But I can't get on Jonathan Quick because he was due for something like this. He's been so good. Like, I'm not even going to even go down that road. But that's bad. That was a bad loss. And that could be a bad turning point. Now, Monday night, quick turnaround can be a positive, right? Because you could look at it and you could say to yourself, well, you know what? Chicago is in now. You have an opportunity to try and not and get over what happened yesterday with Seattle. Go out there and win a game that's winnable. Chicago,
the worst team in the league.
Thank
right?
you. Right on cue. Let's talk about a little things.
Worst
here.
Team in the league.
Chicago is the worst team in the NHL. They are going into that game on a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah.
They have a coach. Now, granted, they made a coaching change a week ago, but he's still a coach with 0. I'm going to reiterate that 0 career NHL wins. That when he sits down in 30 years and trivia, what was your first win, Grandpa, in the NHL? I beat the New York Rangers in 2024, 2025. So that coach has 0 career wins, and the goalie that they played against the Rangers is 1-6. Literally, it had all the make, and you have a team that should be playing desperate hockey in the Rangers for what's happened. It is an absolute disaster what happened on Monday night. I don't even want to. There's so many other things to talk about, but the first goal again is a Mika giveaway. I have seen Mika. This is amazing. There's got to be this. There has to be a stat on this. I feel like Mika Zibanejad has more giveaways that has directly led to opposing team goals than he does goals for the Rangers on this team. He has to. I can name now countless. The Buffalo game I was at the other day, the Philly game. I mean, I could go down the list of the St. Louis game. It just goes on and on, where Mika is giving the puck over like it is his job. I don't understand.
Maybe he's making bets.
The other day, the goal in the Chicago game, he has the puck around the boards in the defensive zone, thinking he's going to get hit. Now, the guy isn't even close to hitting him, but you got to take the hit. You don't just turn the puck over. So he turns the puck over needlessly around the net, to which the Blackhawk wing picks it up, throws it across the net in the net. I just don't understand. I don't get it. Will Cooley remains on this team. The only person, easily. Like if they voted for the Stephen McDonald Award tonight that they give away in April, like the extra effort kind of thing. Will Cooley should have unanimous. No one should have it. No other player should have a single vote. And that should tell you something, that if Will Cooley on December 11th is the only bright spot on the team that has all this talent, that would be that would tell you a lot. But here you are in the third period. Here's another thing that bothers me. You're in the third period. You're down 2-1 against a garbage team, and you can't even get chances, let alone a goal to tie it, all right? How many times am I going to see Mika Zibanejad take a one-timer that is closer to hitting the Empire State Building 3 blocks away than it is hitting the net? I'm serious. It's the Mika one-timer has to stop.
Wow.
That's
all he's got.
Doug, it's not even close to hitting the net. It's not even remotely close to hitting the net.
That's his thing. Paul doesn't want you to hold anything back. It's time for the Rangers to get an earful. Don't hold anything back.
I haven't been holding anything back. I haven't. I just don't. I don't get the Mika thing. I don't understand it. Now, if you watch the post game on Monday night, now I don't know why I did. I'm going to give you a little confession. I don't usually watch post games. I know a lot of people like to watch post games of their teams. For me, I don't. I don't really find it overly enlightening. Like I can watch a game and know what I need to know. Like if a player gets hurt, maybe I'll watch it. I don't usually watch it. For whatever reason, Monday night I was annoyed, and we had people on Instagram story that were asking for me to do a recap. And I said no. And then I realized there was a lot of them. So I said, I'll do it. So I still had in the background the TV on. And Henrik Lundqvist, who was in the studio, made a great point, which I think really anyone would agree with. And that is that they just look totally unconfident and unhappy. They do not look like they're having fun. Like last year was all about being happiness, late game comebacks and all that. Artemi Panarin, who has been bad the last few weeks, and I like Artemi Panarin, but he hasn't been great. I mean, no one has, so I'm not saying anything you don't know. But Panarin usually has, like, his resting face is a smile. Like, he's always smiling. And it's also what makes him so easy to root for when he's on your team, right? He's in the MVP race every year. He's also so happy. He's always having fun. He usually looks like a kid on Christmas morning every game. There was a play in I think it was the second period on Monday night where like they were going to TV break and you could see Artemi Panarin skating to the bench to come off for a line change. It looked like he wanted to cry. I mean, it looked like he was miserable. So I have a hard time believing that the dynamic of this team or the talent level of this team has dropped so much in 6 months when the people responsible for the talent are all still there. I mean, the Mika regression thing is beyond me. I have no idea what's going on. Now, you could sit here and say it's mentally, and that kind of was alluded to a little bit yesterday. But look, if you need to work on things mentally, and I'm a proponent for mental health, I don't understand how people aren't. I would rather you step aside and go get whatever help you need. If this is a mental thing or sports psychologist thing, go get the help rather than put yourself in a situation where you keep failing and probably making whatever the issue is worse, because this is just unbelievable.
That's the definition of insanity.
The slap shots at the end of the third period that looked like it almost hit the Empire State Building. I wanted to throw something. I was so angry that was the best opportunity you could come up with in that situation versus a garbage team. I mean,
the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
Worst team in the league.
Now you want to look at the issues here as a whole with this team.
Yeah.
I would actually ask you a question. Like, before I gave you the answer, I would ask you the question.
Yeah.
And that would be this: how much time do you have? Right? Like, how much time I see you over there. How much time do you have? Because this team has 637 fires that they need to put out. I mean, they really do. There's a million issues. Mika's been abysmal. We've talked about that. I can't ever remember. I thought about this yesterday, and I tried to think if I could think of an example, and I can't. Yeah. I can't remember on any team I root for. So I'm a Yankee fan, and that was a bad weekend too. But I don't even care at this moment in time. You know, I can't think of, or the Knicks. I can't think of a player or single athlete, maybe not even just on my teams or on any team, that has regressed so much, so fast, and so unexpectedly when they have a long time to go on their contract, which is 5 years. So I really don't.
We're going to ship him off too?
You can't. You can't move his contract. I mean, if Pat Verbeek wants to give you a help again, I guess he could. Keandre Miller, literally this season, looks like he is playing defense blindfolded. I mean that seriously. When you watch some of the things he does, like when you then see the replay, you think to yourself, did he use his eyes before he made the decision to do that with the puck? Like, did he not see? Did he not look up? Like, there's just I don't know what's going on with him. And Lafreniere, who last year we coined the term here, quantum leap, which was fair because Alexis Lafreniere deserved credit last year because he took an exponential jump in his progress. He has now almost gone back to where he was before he made the progress. Forget staying stagnant and not improving more on your positive trajectory that you had last year. You've almost gone back down on the graph. And Adam Fox has been bad. You have a former Norris Trophy winner with no goals on the year. Like, think about that, right? Here's a guy that won the Norris Trophy. He's in the discussion every year. He won't be this year. But he has not a single goal. I'm not saying he should be out having 30, but he doesn't have a single goal, and he doesn't look right. With him, I'm starting to wonder, like, now I'm looking back, has he been this bad since he got the knee on knee in the Carolina game last November? Like, is that the issue here? And, people, the other thing, that want to defend Chris Kreider, what have you seen positively from Chris Kreider this year that I have not seen? Like, in the last month, Chris Kreider, locker room leader and all this, when his team is literally in a free fall, and that is a strong term, but I will also say that might not be strong enough, right? When Chris Kreider has his team in a free fall, he has done nothing. He's basically been invisible. Last Monday versus the Devils, when I was there, and I was happy he was in the lineup because he'd been out previously the week before, did nothing. He did nothing. Other than trying to tip pucks in front of the net, what exactly has he done? Now, a lot of people the last few days have said to me, well, this all is Chris Drury. But Chris Drury had the opportunity to blow it up over the summer, and he didn't, and that's why they're in the situation. What exactly was Chris Drury supposed to blow up?
What are you blowing up?
What are you blowing up?
The President's Trophy.
So let me get this. The Rangers are eliminated on Saturday, June 1st, on Saturday night in Florida. The season ends. In that season, you have won the President's Trophy. You've been within 2 games of the Stanley Cup Finals, and you were up 2-1 in that series and up 1-0 in Game 4, and you then hit a post, right? So you were close. Now, a month later on July 1st, to the day that you're eliminated, free agency opens on Monday, July 1st. What exactly is Chris Drury supposed to blow up? What do you want him to do? If Chris Drury blew stuff up and it didn't work, everyone, and rightly so, would go ballistic and say, well, why did he blow it up? They were 2 games away from the Stanley Cup Finals. What did he blow up? But now, because this team is playing like such shit, everyone's going on Chris Drury. Well, why didn't he blow it up? He should have blown it up. What the hell was he supposed to blow up? Who saw this coming? Were we all supposed to know? Was Chris Drury supposed to know that Mika Zibanejad was going to regress into a 97-year-old woman on ice skates overnight? Honestly, were we supposed to understand that Keandre Miller was going to try to play defense blindfolded and just throw the puck all over the place? Were we supposed to assume that Adam Fox, who had won the Norris Trophy previously, was going to have no goals on the year? I don't understand what you wanted to blow up. Were we all supposed to expect that Jacob Trouba was going to be an issue? Well, you know what? Maybe we did, and maybe Chris Drury did, but he couldn't trade him. He tried. So I don't understand what people are getting on Chris Drury. So, and the Peter Laviolette thing to me, again, I was wrong 2 summers ago because I said that I did not want Peter Laviolette to coach this team. I didn't think he was the right fit. He was a retread. But when a coach comes in his first year and has the best record in the NHL, guess what? I was fucking wrong. I was completely wrong. So I'm not sure that changing Peter Laviolette is the problem. Guess what the problem is? You know what the problem is?
I think it's the players.
It's thank you. Thank you.
They need to wake up.
I don't mean this negatively against you.
Oh, thanks.
But you're not the hockey guy here. But you just sat here for the last 31 minutes and 34 seconds and listened to this, and you came up with the conclusion correctly. The problem is the players. This is the same players that in year 2 of Gerard Gallant, after having a good year and getting to the Eastern Conference Final in his first year, stopped playing. And stopped playing mid-series when you had a 2-0 lead against the Devils, which is remarkable. Maybe it's not Peter Laviolette. Maybe it's not Chris Drury. Maybe it's not Gerard Gallant. And maybe, and I'm not believing this, but I'm going to throw this out here, maybe it's not David Quinn either. Maybe it's the players. Maybe it's the core.
You wake up.
And how many coaches is this core going to get an opportunity to go through?
A lot of coaches they went through.
Really? How many coaches?
Bump.
Yes. How many coaches is this core going to go through? You play tonight in Buffalo, okay? And Buffalo, I believe, I'm going to check this real quickly. But if I'm going to say what I'm going to say, then it's going to make me really kind of even more annoyed. I believe Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken, is on a pretty bad losing streak right now. Is that true, B-Rock? Do you know? All right, we're going to look real quick. Yes, Buffalo has lost 7 games in a row. They have not won since Saturday.
They're going to win. They're totally going to win.
They have not won since Saturday, November 23rd. Buffalo has lost 7 games in a row. They are 11.
They're going to win this game.
They are 11. No, well, I ain't saying anything. They are 11, 13, and 4. Okay? Here is a team that you should beat. I don't care how bad you're playing, but if I am the Rangers, they better win tonight.
They better.
LA comes in on Sunday. The Kings come in here on Sunday. I watched last night. We'll tell you how bored I was. I watched the entire Kings and Islanders game because there was nothing else on TV. And I have to apologize to B-Rock, our producer. I would have watched the Devils and Maple Leafs because that was a better game, but it was on one of these national games that I couldn't find the channel. Is that what ESPN Plus? Okay, so I just ended up sticking. LA is good. They clog up the middle, and the Islanders were saying it after the game too. So you have LA coming in here Sunday, then you have a back-to-back. You're on the road on Sunday in St. Louis and at Nashville and Dallas. So in the next week, before we come in here, we have at Buffalo tonight, Wednesday, home LA Saturday, at St. Louis on Sunday, at Nashville on Tuesday. What I have been doing every week is I have been trying to take the maximum amount of points you can get between when we're on today and when we're on next time and set the bar for what's acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
First off, you have to get 2 points tonight, right? Nashville is playing. Actually, Nashville might be as bad of a story of the Rangers with just talent and not living up to it. So there's 4 points right there. You need to get 5 out of 8 points here in the next 4 games. If you don't have 5 out of 8 points, that would mean 3 weeks in a row. I've set the bar here, and the Rangers just keep coming on below.
So, but Jeff, I mean, this is a week to turn around. But do you think it's time to push the button?
This is if you watch. Can I before we answer you? I don't want to get off topic. I see B-Rock moving around over there because he's probably prepared for this. This is all you've wanted for years.
No. I don't want to push the panic button, but like, I think it's time. I don't wish panic upon anybody.
Okay. So but I would say this. Looking at they have lost now.
You lost to the worst team in the NHL.
1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've lost 9 of their last 11. I'm gonna do something because I like you. And Jeff Adelson is saying to push the panic button.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think we should push the panic button today?
Well, why don't we put it out to them? You can put in the Instagram chat if you're me and you have this panic button, which is gonna get pushed because he wants to show you this light effect that he has when he pushes it. But
Michael says, bring out the panic button.
My only thing is this.
Oh boy, I've been waiting for this one.
Okay, hold on. My only thing, and I'm gonna say this before I give you the answer. Okay. Somehow, some way, because of the Rangers' good start, they are tied for the last wildcard spot. And Vegas, if you believe in Vegas and the way that Vegas works, I did look this morning on a chat with Nikolai and Chris that they are minus 190 currently to make the playoffs. So if you don't know what that means and you say, I don't do betting, what does minus 190 mean? That means that Vegas thinks confidently, not overconfidently, but confidently that the Rangers will make the playoffs. So am I going to push the button? Here's why I'm going to make Doug's day and push it in a minute. I'm going to push it for this reason.
Can't wait till the last minute. You have nothing to turn around.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to push it for this reason. I want to give the reasons. It's not right now, and this is what I've been saying to people on DMs all week over and over and over. This is not one issue. Like, Igor's playing bad. Do you push the panic button? No. Right? He can turn it around. He had a bad regular season last year. He was great in the playoffs. There are so many fires right now that they need to put out that if you put a gun to my head and said, are they making the playoffs? Honestly, I don't even know what I would say. You happy? Here, come here. I'm gonna make your day. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do your thing.
Oh my God, he pushed it.
There you go. There we go. So
wow.
For the time being, I would be in a state of panic. Oh God.
We pushed the. I didn't think you were gonna do it, Jeff. I didn't think you were gonna do it.
Well, okay, we're good. Can we go back to like? Okay. No more. That's enough. All right. So going forward in this next week, you need to see them get at least 5 of 8 points. Do I think the Rangers are done with making moves? No, I don't. I think Chris Drury has shown that he is certainly capable of making moves and will do things if he feels like he has to. And when you have a team that has Stanley Cup aspirations and have lost 9 of 11, you're going to sit there and you would think in his mind he's going to think he needs to do something. What specifically he's going to do, I don't know. I don't know that trading Ryan Lindgren, which I know some people are saying in the chat right now, is the answer. He's a UFA. He's not going to be back here next year anyway. You're not going to get a lot for him. And you would need those.
Just trade your whole team away. You gotta wake them up. They need some kind of wake up call. You would think that Trouba being shipped off would be your wake up call.
Or does it have the reverse effect where it's angering people the way he was treated? Is the question.
Well, you said it yourself. You were at the game. Everyone smiles, and Trouba's in the corner pouting.
No, that was right. 2 weeks ago on Monday night there was the Panarin. It was not cool. All right, so. Let's go to a different sport. I am so Rangered out. I can't even when I wake up in the morning now, it's the first thing I think of is what is going on with this team. So let's shift gears to the NFL before we run out of time here. Last week we were unfortunately a losing week, but it was close. Boy, we got hosed actually on Monday night. We were 2-3, so we went into Monday Night Football actually 2-2, needing that game. We had the Packers plus 3.5 at Thursday night at Detroit. That we barely hit, but we hit. We had the 49ers minus 3.5 at home for Chicago. That hit. We had the Browns plus 6.5 at Pittsburgh. We did not hit. We had the Falcons plus 6 at Minnesota. That didn't hit. So we went into Monday night and we needed to get that game correctly. We did not. We had the Cowboys plus 5.5 at home and lost on that stupid block punt. You know, like we didn't have money on the game, so I'm not going to sit here and make a big deal out of it. But I felt bad where if like people had listened to us and like they got hosed over because of that. Like we can't control that. I mean, that was just bad. But so just a rough week, but we will try to pick it up. It's already week 15. There is no season. I know we're a hockey show. I say this every year. There is no sport whose season goes as fast as the NFL ever. Like you start in preseason, you get fired up for week 1, and next thing you know, you're having wings. So this I'm going to ignore some of the chats on YouTube. All right, so here are our week 15 picks. I like the Saints plus 7.5 at home against the Commanders. This is the Commander team that I just saw lose at home to Dallas. Why are they on the road giving 7.5 points? I'm taking the Saints plus 7.5. I like the Chiefs minus 4 at the Browns. So at some point, the Chiefs have to get a complete game together and cover their spreads and get it going. I don't think the Browns are good at all. Give me the Chiefs minus 4. I like the Jaguars plus 3 at home versus the Jets. Jets just shouldn't be giving points at the road, plain and simple. Cowboys plus 2.5 at Carolina. Both teams are bad. Cowboys are due to win. And the quarterback, the Cooper or whatever his name, Rush, has been okay. Plus 2.5. They're also getting points. Give me the Cowboys. I didn't know really where to go with the last game, but I decided I was going to pick the best game of the week, and that is the Bills at Detroit. I'm taking the Bills plus 2.5 at Detroit. I think the Bills respond from their loss out in LA. I think Detroit has shown you, and particularly that Thanksgiving game for Chicago, they are beatable. Then I'm getting the Bills and Josh Allen getting points. I'm taking the Bills plus 2.5. So, to recap, I like the Saints plus 7.5 at home versus the Commanders, the Chiefs minus 4 at the Browns, the Jaguars plus 3 at home versus the Jets, the Cowboys plus 2.5 at Carolina, and the Bills plus 2.5 at Detroit.
Wow.
There you go.
So I mean, I know you don't want to go back. We talked about the NFL. I don't even want to go back to hockey, but if things are going to turn around, it needs to turn around now.
Yes. I would say you're getting to the point. Well, here's where you're not. If you were 10 points out of the playoffs, it would have to be now. Could they struggle for a couple more weeks and still probably be in? Yeah. But the goal of this team is not to get the second wild card. Now it's not. Don't do no more.
You don't want to press it
again?
again?
No, we're not pressing again.
I've
had enough. My eyes have had enough.
But if they lose tonight.
No. I don't want to put I don't think you push the panic button because of one game. But I do think, when you look at where this team is and the sort of team they're playing tonight, guess what? They should win that game. I mean.
And if they don't?
If they don't, how about this? You can call me tonight. I will be at my playoff game for deck hockey tonight. Okay. Which, by the way, you want to talk about pressure. We are the 1 seed tonight in deck hockey. So there's 4 teams. And the way they do it is 1 plays 4, 2 plays 3, and then the winners stay. But you get a break if you're the 1 seed, which we are. You get the game off. So we're at 6:45. Yeah. The other game is at 7:45. They have to go back. They have to go right back to back. So hopefully,
that's what's good about being the 1
seed. I mean, there's a couple of players on my team. I'm not going to mention names. It's not me, by the way. But there's a couple of players on our team that have just seems with endless amounts of energy. A night like tonight is where we need them to have that energy. Hopefully, we can win the whole thing tonight. So the Rangers in Buffalo tonight, LA on Saturday at home, and then start a 3-game road trip as they go to St. Louis, Nashville, and Dallas. We thank the Bamboozle Project for their sponsorship. As always, we appreciate them sponsoring and all the gear. You can use promo code MYPB at checkout. We thank DraftKings as well. And anything else from you?
Nothing. I just hope we could turn it around so you don't ever have to press that panic button again.
But if I did, you would be happy. It's not that you enjoy my misery. You just like the light effects that undefeated media sets up.
For example, after we wrap up, we're going to do a little recap episode of MYPB.
And Jeff Adelson, yes.
Wait.
You had something queued up? Oh, good. Yeah. Please, we don't need the lights flashing in here.
It was nice. It was nice. It wasn't flashing. It was
whatever it was. Well, anyway, we thank you for
MYPB after dark.
Yes. We thank you for listening. Thank you for all the comments. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't get to them. I had a lot to get to today. I will read through them now as we get off the air. Thank you for tuning in. We will talk to you next week.
MYPB after dark.